We're awaiting these inflation numbers in just about an hour and a half's time. And there's big concern about what's been happening. Nobody probably knows this better than those of you on the front lines who have seen wage inflation, who have seen food inflation. What's happening? What can you tell us?
Buongiorno, Becky. Well, let me tell you, Americans are eating out as our industry. I guess being cooped up all this during the pandemic now, they're really enjoying going out and eating and socializing, getting off the sort of electronic mode and getting into real human mode. So the restaurants are busy, are happening. On the other hand, everything else is going out. The expenses are going up for us, whether it's labor, whether it's cost of food, whether it's maintenance and so on. So, as owners, as business people, we have to really balance because the cost at the end has to be passed down to somebody. And of course, the customer is always at that end. And so we have to be careful because we want the customers, we want to keep the energy going, but the costs are going up.
I'd heard from another restaurateur in New York who was talking about just how people with money are really willing to spend it right now. One manner of kind of measuring how flush things are is are they willing to pay for alcohol and how much? Expensive bottles of wine. What do you see right now? How willing are people?
Absolutely. Customers are really expanding their palate and they're willing to pay for it. Not only taste-wise, they're buying the good things, they're buying good bottles of wine, more wine, they're buying the truffles, now it's truffle seasons, they're willing to invest in themselves. I guess, being cooped up really has brought some awareness to, okay, where are we going, what are we doing? So they are willing to spend more. But on the other hand, they are also very conscious and very informed. They know the value of food. They know what they should be paying. They are very conscious about the nutritional element in food, that they are getting the organic, the healthy food, that the restaurant, that the chefs are conscious of where health-wise they are going. So it's an ever more educated customer out there. And I mean, I love it. Any businessman that's really into what he does, there's nothing better than an educated customer. It drives the whole industry.
How difficult is it to find staff for the restaurants at this point?
That is difficult, I think, to find staff. We had people working for us 30 years, before the pandemic, and we had to let them go. So a lot of them, we had an allegiance of a lot of workers, and they came back. But as a whole, it is difficult to find. Now it's sort of loosening up. The market is loosening up, and we are finding more and more people that are competent, that are good, that want to do this business.
Let's talk about your PBS special. This sounds really special. It's Lidia Celebrates America, Overcoming the Odds, where you go and meet with people who have really overcome incredible odds. How did you inspire it? How were you inspired by this? What happened?
Well, Becky, besides being a restaurateur and a cookbook author, I have a cooking show on PBS for the past 22 years. But for the past 10 years, I've been doing a 1-hour special. And I am an immigrant. I came to the United States. I was 12 years old. My story is a little bit unique. I came from a part of Italy that was given to communist Yugoslavia. We were caught behind the communists and sort of escaped back into Italy, 2 years in a refugee camp, and ultimately came here and were given this wonderful opportunity to be Americans. So this, the resilience that it takes, the strength, the positive attitude, the taking the opportunity that I can sort of relate to my life is I applied to this tour that I do through America every year, a 1-hour special on PBS. And it's my way of saying thank you, America. It's my way of connecting with America. And this year, we chose 5 different individuals that really faced the odds with all their might, and they really made it. For example, you just had some slides there from a Contento restaurant. This is from a young man that was a sommelier at my restaurant for Lidia. 2 years later, he had a car accident, became a paraplegic, is in a wheelchair, but he loved the industry and he wanted to open a restaurant. Ultimately, 6 months ago, he opened Contento up in Harlem. He got married with his wife. And this restaurant is very sort of amenable to, and for people with difficulties, whether it's a wheelchair, whether it's blindness, but he has a Braille menu. And so this young man, a handsome young man that was sort of sort of tied to a wheelchair after the accident, really went on and did what he wanted to do.
That's
and so there's also a young man in this story that was incarcerated at 17 years old for a sex crime that he didn't commit. Oh. And it took him 10 years with some of this help to actually prove it that he didn't. He came out. He got his law degree. Yeah. Now he is helping the young people that get into same position, that are caught and incarcerated without any cause or fault or whatever.
That's
and so these are really stories.
That's incredibly inspirational. And, you know, we could all use some feel-good stories right now, Lidia. Thank you for your time this morning. Idea. We will look forward to it, and we appreciate it. It's great to see you.
It's Thursday
yeah.
On PBS. All right?
Thank you, Lidia. Take care.